Good afternoon, everyone. This is take two. My first video, I was on mute. So realize that at the end. So here we go. We are starting all over again. I hope you guys could appreciate this video. It should be a short one, under 10 minutes. I just want to share with you guys, especially the new ones that are on board, how to look at these numbers. At the end, it's up to you guys to analyze them. But I think I want to make it easier for you guys, and I want to look at a couple of things that I look at when I'm trying to find some patterns and trying to find, just like in the stock market, an entry to a stock or when it's time to sell. So hopefully these numbers are going to help you guys. Keep in mind that for the sportsbook and the square section, we like to fade those plays. We don't want to play those plays. So where you're seeing some red in those sections here, it is a good thing. So let's take a quick look at January 2022 and January 2023. So that's what pushed me into doing this video, because we now have a full year of data for let's say these 2 years that are here. So what does this indicate to us? Maybe not much, but it could show us how stable some sections are and how other sections are more volatile. So when we're looking at the sharp money in 2022, we were just tracking 3 sports. We've got all of them this year in 2023. We finished at plus 11 units in 2022 January, and we're at close to 14 units, and we still have a week or so for January. So a positive, not big discrepancy into the numbers. I think when you're looking at the NHL, it was a big month in 2022 January, and this month we're in the negatives. However, in return, we are a lot stronger in the NBA, and we added college basketball this year and last year also. So you could see there's a big swing here. So it's been profitable this year for us. So when you're looking at the overall numbers, they kind of match. Where we see a big gap is in the sportsbook. Last year, minus 19, minus 12, minus 4. So we had minus 36 units. So if we're fading these plays, we're expecting more or less close to 30 to 35 units in profitability. And this year, we're only minus 131. So there's a big gap on that. It doesn't mean that we should stop fading them, but when you're looking at the NHL, it's overperforming versus last year, but we're still seeing some stability in college basketball and the NBA. When we're looking at the squares, in January, they had a really good month last year. When we say really good month, they almost were even when they're losing on average 10 units per month. So when we're looking at their performance in January of this year, we're seeing a swing there also. They're at minus 14.33, which would be plus, give or take, 10 to 12 units if we are fading these plays. The model, the best model plays are very consistent in January. We'll see what happens in February. But again, some consistency there. What I've added also to the 2022 numbers, I've added an average. So this is what we could expect based on the sample size that we had for each section in each month. So if we're looking at the NFL, we started tracking in August of 2022. So when we're looking at their performance, it gives us more or less a plus 5 units of expectation in terms of profitability for the NFL sharp money. We see something similar here in the NHL, where we could expect close to 4 units in profitability every month in the sharp money section, and these are the total returns for last year. So if you want to compare January 2023, let's not compare it to the total return, let's compare it to what the average is. And if we take the NHL, we could see that in 2023 it is performing way below the 2022 average, which is close to 4 units in profitability every month. So we could expect some positive progression coming from the NHL. The NHL's biggest month in terms of profitability for the sharp money was in January of last year, which returned close to 14 units in profit. You can see we've got green all the way. We got -1 in July as the season was ending. We started this season at plus, let's say, half a unit, plus 10 units. Then we had a shitty November. December was profitable. Now January, we're at minus 4.5 units. The average return per month is close to 4, so we could expect some positive regression coming from the NHL here, right? Something similar but more stable is the NBA. So if we look at the sharp money in the NBA, it returns on average 2 units per month. When we're looking at the profitability here, we never had 2 consecutive bad months in the NBA. Our best month was at plus 9 units. Our worst month in 2022 was at minus 11 units. When we average all of these months out, it gives you a 2 unit of profitability expectation for the NBA. And this month we are way overperforming. So does this mean that we could see some regression based on the results? It's something we're going to have to wait. But if you're looking at these numbers, you might maybe want to tell yourself, maybe I should maybe not tell these plays anymore. I wouldn't fade them 100%, but if you would need to make a call and say, I am not going to tell these plays anymore because of these numbers, I wouldn't be blaming you at all, right? But I just want to be sharing this information with you guys so you could get that thought process going. At the end, it all comes down to DM, decision making. And you got all the numbers over here, and whatever decisions you make, hopefully these are going to help you make the right ones. But there's no right or wrong here, but this data is going to help you make better decisions. When we're looking at the sportsbook section and the square section, I don't want to take too much time in this video, so we're going to quickly use the same type of exercise that we've done up here to look at these sections right here. What are we expecting to lose on a monthly basis in this section based on the sports? It's right here, the averages, right? We're expecting to lose on average 14.44 units. Don't forget, if we fade these plays, this becomes a profitable turnaround. So we're expecting to win close to 14 units if we are fading these plays. And when we're comparing them to how is it going in this month, again, we're looking at the average, and there's not much of a big gap in the NFL, but the season is winding down. When we're looking at the NHL, again, right, we're expecting to gain about 8 units per month if we're fading the sportsbook NHL plays. However, the favorites have been on fire and on a, I believe, 18-5 run. So we would have been losing close to about 8 units if we've been fading the plays in the sportsbook section. Very stable or on pattern fading college basketball. Same thing for fading NBA. College football is done. So this gives us a pretty good idea of where we should be going in the upcoming days or weeks. If we're looking at the squares, something very similar also. We're expecting to gain about 10 units per month, so that they lose on average 10 units per month. So if we fade those plays, we should be generating close to 10 units a month of profit. If we look at the averages based on how it's going in January right now, NFL is in line. When we're looking at NHL, the squares are having also a good month in the NHL, and it makes sense with the NHL fading the sportsbook. Squares are going to heavily invest into favorites, so it makes sense that these sections match up, or else I'd be asking myself some questions here. College basketball, we are a sample size of 5 months. We are to expect to lose about 10 units a month. So if we fade these plays, we expect to win 10. However, if we take a look at the month of December, this kind of skews a little bit the numbers because it was huge, minus 25 units in December. So whoever did fade the college basketball squares would have put in their pockets easily close to 20 units. So if we're looking at maybe a smaller sample size without calculating December, we're looking at an average of about 7 units that they'd be losing, so 7 units that we'd be winning. And again, in January we are outperforming those numbers, so it's closer to the the December performance. So is this going to be a new pattern, something to see in February? But what are we like? Are we scared of losing money over here? Not really, because out of 5 months, the only month that the squares actually made money in college basketball was in January 2022, and it was a unit. So the max you could lose is a unit based on these numbers, and the max you could win is close to 25 units. when we're looking at the best play models, very consistent in the month of January. Let's see how they do in February. There's not much here that there is to discuss. Average victory, average 1 units is close to 1, and that's where we are here for the NBA. NHL 1, we're outperforming it a little bit. So hope these numbers are going to help you a little bit make some decisions when you're picking a section to follow. And then you've got the daily breakdown over here, so you could easily find there are some really hot patterns. If we're looking at from December 12th all the way to the 18th, sharp money was really, really hot. I believe they went on a 50 and 28 run, and then it followed with some regression really quickly. If I could do this, 16, it went 16 and 23. So I had somebody message me and say, well, this doesn't make sense. All of a sudden they're losing, but they were winning. Yeah, that's what's going to happen sometimes, right? So now we've got some people that gambled and kept on following these plays, but even if they did, they would still be in the plus money. Fortunately, then you got some people that are coming in late and lost some money. So the numbers show that it's profitable. So even if you lost a couple of bucks coming in at the wrong time, why sell now? So just be a little bit more patient, keep on grinding those numbers, and we should be positive at the end of all of this. If you guys have any questions, you know where to find me. I hope this helped you guys out, and let's make some fucking money.